Hey everyone, it's Sensei Victoria Whitfield here, your journey partner in business, welcoming you back to episode 59 of the Journeypreneur Podcast. This is your source for channeled holistic stress management techniques, guidance, inspiration, and motivation to stay on your path to rapid financial ascension and massive impact as a conscious entrepreneur. The title of this podcast episode is Better Than Passive Income. So I was just getting back now from traveling for a software conference. I travel quite a bit to go networking as well as learning more about how to better serve you and to serve more people. In my purpose as the world's first Business Reiki Master, one of the ways that I do that is by improving my software skills because I have an online business. And at this software conference, there's a really awesome speaker, Caleb Maddix, and he was sharing his story about how he got involved in the first place, really being passionate about personal development for young people, like for children. So I'm talking people who are younger than 18 years old. Personal development, confidence, personal growth, money mindset, business mindset, communication skills, all of that. He was on stage and he's young himself, but he's been speaking to children about personal growth and development for many years. And he started as a child on YouTube himself and has become quite an incredible global brand now, Caleb Maddix, if you haven't checked him out yet. And there was something that he shared during his speech that really touched me and made me think of you as a conscious entrepreneur. So maybe you are on your path and serving more people as best as you can, keeping up and giving the highest level of support to those who are in your care. And at a certain point of growth, we just kind of get tired of growing. And let's talk about this because the space of getting that sense of founder's fatigue or even growth guilt where you're getting tired of putting yourself out there and trying to make more money. You know, maybe you're very financially comfortable. Maybe it's not the income that's starting to speak to you anymore. Or maybe you're not even financially comfortable yet, but for some reason you're lacking that inner fire and inner inspiration to get back on your feet, to get back on that soapbox, right, and share your message to inspire others and also to call in more wealth and abundance so that you can continue to get out there and inspire others. It's natural. First of all, if you're listening into this and you're thinking to yourself, who in the world would get tired? Or you're shooting on yourself, beating yourself up for getting tired, I want you to know that it's natural. Welcome to being a human being. We have natural cycles. I mean, here in New Jersey, we have 4 seasons: winter, summer, spring, and fall. I know in some parts of the world where some of our tribe is listening in from, you may not have as many seasons as this, so it's not as apparent, but here in New Jersey, we have these 4 seasons, and they are dramatically different. There's a time for planting seeds, and then there is a time for harvesting the fruits that have been born out of those plants. There's also then a time for dormancy of the plant, where let it go to sleep for a little while, and there's also another time for it to reawaken and spring back to life after having slept plenty. Like, we're done sleeping. And that sense of, I had a Cuban friend of mine, she gave me this word, inquieto. There's this sense of discomfort and itchiness to get going that comes in spring naturally. This is the creative cycle that we get to experience here in New Jersey and wherever you are, if you have 4 seasons as well. And within every single living being, there is a creative cycle that mirrors that as well. There's a time for you to get out there and shine, right? And be just out there and visible and being as productive as possible. There's also time for you, the next season would be to harvest. So you've put a lot out. You've given. Now it's time for you to receive, right? So that would be autumn, if we're going by the seasons, for example. But there's also a time for you to rest, where you're not being productive and you're not receiving. You are just off. Like it is there, and I'm telling you, I'm recording this podcast right now, actually, in one of those days, and sometimes I can go through this in the middle of a day, like all 4 seasons, but this is one of those days where I'm just off. I needed a large amount of time to just be completely useless, and that's winter, where I'm going dormant naturally as a creative being. And then after you get a certain amount of rest and you're feeling full of that uselessness, full of that silence, or full of that rest or downtime, naturally spring comes and we emerge. There's this burst of energy and there's movement. All that potential that we gathered from deep rest naturally comes out, right, in our creative cycle, and it happens over and over and over again. And all of this comes to mind for me when I'm thinking about what Caleb said, because one of the holy grails of entrepreneurship, especially online, is passive income, where you can make your downloadable that sells for however much it sells, and people are automatically sent there, right? The traffic is automatically sent there, and the conversion is automatic, so they're paying for it, and the money's just rolling in. The income is just rolling in, and that is lovely. Don't get me wrong, I love having passive income. It is a wonderful blessing. It gives me a lot more rest. Absolutely. But at the same time, there's a two-edged sword that comes with having passive income. Sure, you're constantly making money, but you also have a constant influx of new energy, onboarding, customer service, right? And a need to be constantly marketing and putting yourself out there as well. So be kind to yourself if this concept of passive income is a little bit foreign to you, and it just has this sort of a fetishized ideal to it, like, oh, this is the one thing that I want. After a while, if you just have things automatically coming in, I'm going to tell you, maybe you don't know this yet, but it can get a little bit boring. For someone who's naturally creative, if you really want to be out there and touching people's lives or getting involved and having like a wonderful, active, transformational experience as an entrepreneur, right? When we're conscious, we want to spread consciousness naturally. That's just part of who we are. When you're like that, when it's just over and over and over again, the income rolling in, it can start to get a little bit boring. So if you've reached that state, or if this is something that you want to prepare yourself for, if you're building for it, this podcast is for you, because what Caleb said from the stage really touched my heart in a way that turned me back on when the boringness was starting to sink in. I'm like, oh, that course is still selling, but I'm just starting to get a little bit tired of it. Here's what he said. He said, my goal now at this stage, because he's been very, very successful, is my goal is not passive income, it's actually passive impact. And here's the idea of passive impact that Caleb shared, and I just want to drop this and then end so that you can have some food for thought, where your presence online and in the community and through your clients, right, shining and speaking about you and the work that they've done with you is so powerful that the people, you don't even have to meet people in order for them to be impacted by what you've done. What's so beautiful about this is that you could be changing people's lives 24/7. What he did the calculations with his team, and he says what he loves about his passive impact, he's been measuring it, and they crunched the numbers, and that every second they are impacting 10 people's lives, right? So can you imagine the reach that you could have where every single minute you're touching 600 people's lives? And this is not because he's on a live stream or something like that, but because of the reach of his work, he's able every second to touch 10 people's lives. And how is he doing it? He's doing it with personal growth and development, confidence development, and communication for young people, for children. And it's just a beautiful thing. So I wanted to open up that ceiling, because for me, I had never even had a term for passive impact. And as an extension, never really had a concept. Now, I've had those of you who, and by the way, thank you for your 5-star reviews and leaving your stories and sending me emails and comments on social media about how much this has been blessing you, but I had no real term for what was happening. That this is passive impact, where I'm asleep or being a human being, like out like on the toilet or walking in the forest or in the middle of a session or God knows doing what, right? Being a human being, just being myself, that the stuff that I've put out there is having passive exponential impact on a massive scale, and it's only building with time. That as an idea is the holy grail for us as conscious entrepreneurs. So I wanted to inspire you with that. Like, are you getting out there? Are you having the courage to share your story in a bigger way? And if so, maybe this concept of having passive impact could help you get back into the game. So with that being said, I'm sending you so much love. And please make sure you share this podcast with someone. Maybe this is the one thing that they needed to hear today to get them back on their path to rapid financial ascension and massive impact as a conscious entrepreneur. So for now, I'm sending you a big hug and mwah! We'll see you in the next podcast episode. But please remember, enjoy the journey. Do not lose your glow as you grow in life and business. And I'll see you soon. Bye for now.